I want to show you how I made my life a lot harder than it needed to be for a period of time and how it might possibly relate to you. So, a lot of people think, oh, I can never get a break or I can never really achieve what I want to achieve. And they think it's something external, but often the saboteur is actually inside ourselves. So, I'd achieved a fair bit of business success and I was asked by two international speakers to actually speak. And so my field at the time was real estate, and I never really felt like a real estate guy. I felt like I put my hand in the wrong glove. And when I originally did start to build up a speaking profile, I felt for the first time I'd put my hand in the right glove. It just felt like me, but it was a difficult transition in the beginning to get there because I got in my own way, and this is what a lot of us do. You see, I was hampered by a thing called the secret agenda. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to speak to very large groups, but at the same time, I had another outcome running that was contrary to that. Because deep down, I was actually quite shy. I knew how to be confident in public, but deep down, I was shy, and I was also frightened of being ostracized or judged, or that's one of actually our biggest fears. Psychologists believe it stems back to when we were in a tribe or a village. If we got thrown out of the village, we didn't survive. And so, Time magazine did a book of lists. They did a book on, one of the lists was on people's fears, their 10 biggest fears. Number one was speaking in public. Number 6 was being burned alive. So I was really terrified of this. So one part of me wanted to really make it in the speaking world, and another part of me didn't want to make it. Now, if you think this doesn't relate to you, well, it may not, but it relates to pretty much everyone. It's got nothing to do with it, whether you want to be a speaker or not. And by the way, all of this is just my own experience, okay? You've got to do your own research. Don't take any of this as gospel. You figure out if this is for you or not, okay? So we call this thing, you've got a primary outcome, right, of what you actually want. Let's say you want a really committed relationship, but you might have a secret agenda running, which is what we call an alternative outcome or a secondary outcome that runs contrary to that. So, somebody wants to be in a really committed relationship, or they want to be financially independent, and so that's their primary outcome, but deep down they may not want to work that hard, or they might be wanting to if they're in a relationship, they might want to look around. All of these are escape hatches, a way of deleting or diminishing our energy away from our primary outcome. So if you look at truly great sports people, or truly great people in any walk of life who have achieved extraordinary results, you're going to find they're completely primary. They don't have any secondary outcomes. They have eliminated it. So they're just primary. That's what they're doing. I worked with a high-profile celebrity one time who wanted to go even further in his career, and a lot of the work that we did was not training his skills, was just discovering the secondary outcome. This saboteur, the secret agenda. And so when we discovered that, it was him being judged by all his friends. That's what he was really worried about. He felt that if he went to an international arena, that all his friends would judge him and they'd leave him behind. So the key is to try and find out what your secondary outcome is. Because in my experience of working with tens of thousands of people, there's only like 2 or 3% at the most that are actually primary driven. We had one guy who wanted to triple his income, but he was also had multiple secondary outcomes. Somebody might want to have more inner peace. They might want to start a meditation program. But their secondary outcome, they decide they're going to meditate first thing in the morning, but their secondary outcome is they want to sleep in. They want to relax. They want to take it easy. So the secondary outcome is often based around comfortability, what we do that makes us more comfortable. And it wasn't until I got past my secret agenda, my secondary outcome, that I was able to actually achieve my goal. It's really difficult unless you get past that stage. So if you've got something you want to do, get really clear on what it is and see if there's any secondary outcomes in the way that are lurking around. Anyway, if you like these videos, hit the subscribe button and press the bell, and that way you'll get notifications. All right, you take care, and I hope this has been useful for you.